And some new reaction now to reports that frustrations with a major U.S. ally are pushing President Obama closer to taking American forces out of Afghanistan earlier than was planned, and to weigh the so-called zero option, a move that would not keep any American troops in Afghanistan past 2014. The White House says it has yet to make a decision on troop levels beyond that time frame, but it is not denying that a major drawdown could be coming very soon. Joined now by General Jack Keane, retired four-star general and former Vice Chief of Staff of the Army, and a Fox News military analyst, and also attorney Brooke Goldstein is the director of the Lawfare Project. Welcome to both of you. Good to have you here today.
Good to be here.
Jack, let me start with you on this. Obviously, a very complicated relationship with Karzai, and the most recent sort of rough discussion came when we put out there possible negotiations with the Taliban, and Karzai felt like he had been left out and sort of huffed his way out of the room. That has left us in a difficult position.
Yeah, absolutely. Karzai is a mercurial leader for sure, who probably doesn't have the emotional intelligence and temperament to deal with a fledgling democracy, which Afghanistan truly is, and has a raging insurgency going on, fighting for its very survival. And this relationship has been bombastic every single year, since we've been there. I sort of side with Karzai here because I sense and agree with his frustration about unilateral discussions with the Taliban, thinking that we can negotiate some kind of an agreement with them, and the bungling way we opened up the office, or they opened up the office in Qatar, which looked more like a government in exile. I mean, we know how mercurial Karzai is, and this certainly just drove him to the brink. And much of the tension now comes from that occurrence.
Yeah. And Brooke, I guess, you got to dance with the one who brung you in some of this circumstance, and we need the best possible outcome for the lives that have already been lost. So much treasure, more than 2,000 lost, and all of those wounded in the fight there. And it's going to leave some people asking, if we decide to pull out and let it all go to a great extent, what it was for.
Exactly, and I think it's quite troubling that we're basically sending the message that our military strategy is now being dictated because Karzai and Obama are having a very public spat. And instead of focusing on the numbers game, I think what would be more intelligent of this administration to do is to focus on the strategic partnership agreement that we have with Karzai. It's not about how many troops we have on the ground, 3,000, 5,000. It's about the efficacy of those troops, how well they are advising the Afghan security forces, and what's going to happen if we indeed leave a vacuum. I mean, have we learned nothing from when we abandoned the Afghani people in the late 80s and 90s? We created a situation where the Taliban came to power and where Osama bin Laden had basically free reign to be there and to plan 9/11.
We know, both of you obviously know, that we've had, these people have a lot of patience, and you look at the Haqqani network over the border, when they hear this kind of talk, they probably say, great, we knew this would happen eventually. Jack?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Certainly one of their strategies, the Taliban, that is to wait this thing out. The facts are, though, we've turned the situation around in the East. We have not been able to do, we turned it around in the South. We've not been able to do that as well in the East. Now, we are going to present the Afghan security forces with a bit of a challenge when we do leave. So I will disagree with Brooks a little bit here. Numbers do matter because they give us the wherewithal to accomplish a number of missions. Certainly, counterterrorism mission is very important. Providing enablers for the Afghan security forces is also important, and certainly giving them some advice on the training situation. All those things are paramount if we are going to validate and continue to succeed in this mission and not put it at great risk, which removing all of our forces certainly would do.
Well, Jack, I'm going to stay with you for a moment, General. What would you advise the president if he were to ask you about how many troops we need there and for how long, and what kind of goal you would set right now?
Well, I think you need the troops there probably for about a 5-year period as we transition the Afghan security forces, and also to continue the counterterrorism mission. At a minimum, those numbers are around 20,000. The administration is not going to entertain that, I believe. The generals recommended a little less than that, and I would suspect given the fact that this administration has never accepted a force-level recommendation from its generals, that they will put in play some forces. They'll be the minimum forces, something probably under 10,000, which will be far less than what the generals believe is necessary.
All right. Thanks to you both. Tough situation. I'm going to watch it. Brooks, thank you very much. General Jack Keane, thanks to you as well.
Good talk.